Satnam, Shiv-FKA in the shower, and gosh, it's so funny. My heart always beats so dum 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 when I go live. It doesn't happen when I record. Kind of like that. Anyway, 10 days after the tears. So the tears week last Thursday, and it's 10 days later. So what's happened? Let me see. So obviously, after the tears, I did a lot of live yoga. What's up, Julie? Bonjour, France. Bonsoir. Bonjour for you. What time is it for you? Anyway, so I did a lot of yoga, and then we were busy again, and then I had my whisper. Thanks for the love. And I had my whisper to sit and do the sit and drop. So Samaj and I started that last, let me see, morning here, yes, morning there. Samaj and I started that on Monday, so today was our 7th day. Now, amazing for him because he's actually never done an hour meditation. I've been trying for a long time in a not trying way, and now he's finally come to it, and he's really enjoying it. And we've been doing an hour a day, so it's 7 days, 7 hours we've done this week, so 7 days. And gosh, I'm really liking it, I've got to say. That along with the fasting and feasting that I'm in month 5 of. I can't believe I've been doing this for 5 months now, and it just seems like a no-brainer to me. It's just how I am. So we have started a practice of allowing. What I realized that I was anxious because I didn't know what was going to happen. And then when I think back, hey Mariah, hey Pete, oh Pete's just down the road. So when I think back, I was anxious because I didn't know what was going to happen. And when I think back to it, when I did know what was going to happen in my life, Mariah, when I was in the office next to you, I didn't really like my life. Hey Jackie. And then I also realized in the last 17 years, I've barely known what's going to happen. And even if we do know what's going to happen, do we really know what's going to happen? So it was uncertainty. So I realized that was what I was uncomfortable with. I was uncomfortable with the uncertainty. Thank you. And then I realized afterwards that actually the discomfort was the fact that I was actually feeling quite calm about it. So there was this on the one hand not knowing, and on the other hand quite calm. That's a dissonance for me because not knowing creates like anxiety, and it wasn't. And then there's a voice, and the other voice says, you're delusional, what you're doing, you're delusional. And then that panics me. And so there's this whole like cacophony of voices going on. And so that's how we started the sit and drop, was I wondered, well, what if I could just be okay with it? What if I could just say, and that's okay. I don't know what's going to happen, and that's okay. And so we started that on Monday, and of course, the universe says, oh, great, you're going to do that. Let's see how you do with this then. So the car's in the mechanics, and she needs new head gaskets. Bless our car, she's taken us 110,000 miles in 3 years. Now she needs some serious work. Before, I would have looked at the mechanic, and he knows that that's probably not in our budget, and been like, oh, what we're going to do. And that to him, I just said, and that's okay. Can we get to Orange? And he said, yes, keep oil in it and she'll be fine. So we can go and do our thing, and that's okay. The next day, Samaj got a speeding ticket, which was so unfortunate. He has driven about 150,000 miles with me and never got a speeding ticket. In fact, he's never had a speeding ticket. And so that was the next day. Came to pick me up, got some bad news, he says, got a speeding ticket. That's okay. We're just doing it. That's okay. And it's really interesting, 7 days into it, because there's an ease. I can't see what people are saying, but hi. Hey, Susan. Hey, Jackie. There's an ease. There's just an ease, and there's a peace. So is everything okay? No. Is everything certain? Absolutely not. But I decided, what if, I don't know what's going to happen, so what if for the next 40 days we had a work project cancelled, actually 2 work projects cancelled, and at first I was again about it, and then I wondered, well, what else is possible in that space? And we haven't had that kind of space. We've had projects and, we'd get our work done for a week or two, and then we'd be keeping the lights on for a week or two. So what if we have that space and we have the opportunity to be in Orange for the next, for 2 weeks at a beautiful home, and where we can do lots of filming and lots of work. So what's possible if we could just sit in the space of we don't know, and that's okay. And so that's where we are. Yeah, thumbs up. We don't know what's going on and we're okay with that. And also I wanted to come back and share, because obviously it's one thing to stand here and bawl and whine, but don't want to leave it at that as though that's the only thing. But there are ups and there are downs. I made a video for a group, Get Your Happy Back today, and you know, it's about getting your happy back and the feel better life, because we can often misunderstand these to think that what I'm talking about is that you're just going to be like running through the fields all day long like a little freaking unicorn, right? And life smacks you. I mean, life gets friggin' tough. So it's not always like that. And you can't always, you're not always going to feel good, which is why it's not called the feel good life. But here's the thing. Getting your happy back, or having a feel better life, in my humble opinion, is not about feeling happy all the time or feeling good in your life all the time. It's about not about creating a life that feels better, but it's about feeling better in the life that you have. There is always room for you to feel better in the life that you have. There is always a choice for you to make. Every single time. We don't always make it. And we can't make it all better, but we can do little tiny things to feel better. Last night I bought a big, massive, you can't see me because I'm off screen, so massive, this big piece of aloe. And I was in the kitchen for 2 hours making all kinds of aloe concoctions. I've been doing little aloe masks and I'm loving it. Take a fresh piece of aloe first, and then I've got my aloe sugar scrub, and then I've got my aloe tonic, toner, and then my frozen ice aloe. And it's fantastic. Made me feel a little better. And I made a coconut shea butter, argan oil, cacao butter, whipped body lotion as well. So I have that all over me as well. And I withdrew from Facebook a lot. I made a lot of lives. Actually, this I think is my 51st live. Yay. But I withdrew from Facebook, and I spent a lot more time in my mind. And the question I asked our group today was, can you sit in the middle of the fire of your pain and be okay with it? And that's what's been coming through for me. Can I sit in the middle of my fire of pain and be okay with it, and not be looking around to see who's got a fire extinguisher? Because how often are we doing that? We're looking around, who's got the fire extinguisher, who's got it, who's got it, who's got it? Well, number one, maybe there's no fire extinguisher needed. Maybe that's the burning of the old wood for the new wood to come through. And number two, if there is a fire extinguisher, the chances are you have it inside of you, right? It's right there. So I'm looking to see these things as more opportunities. I'm looking to find invitations. And that's about it, really. We did a daily video, Samaj and I, so we've done 7 videos in this past week. We kept our commitment. We sat and dropped in Petaluma in the middle of town. We did it in a park. We did it in the car one day when we went from one appointment and we just, we have our live booked. So that's been kind of fun to have that commitment. And then to also have the feel-good factor at the end of the day. So to have the, like, I did it. And so, yes, everything's swirling around me. There is a lot of uncertainty. But the one thing that I do know is that I do feel good in my skin. And we went to see Samaj's mum today, and I love her dearly. But I do know that she gives me a little audit every time I see her. And today she gave me an audit and said that she thought I was looking great, that I dropped some negativity that she saw at Christmas, and there was some weight dropped, and she thought it was doing really, really good. So yay, I got a thumbs up out in the world today. I'm being sarcastic a little there. But this is what happens. But I am feeling better, and I think that there is a lightness that that is coming from it. So I'm super excited to see, and just this practice of allowing for the next 40 days. I think we go to about June 16th, which is the week before my 50th birthday. So a lot of this is being motivated by the fact that, hello to those joining, is being motivated by the fact that I'll be 50 on June 25th. And really up until 2 years ago when we launched Get Your Happy Back for my birthday, I did not celebrate my birthday. Not because of how many years, I don't give a shit how old I am, but just because I find birthdays to be terribly disappointing, to be quite honest. And so I'd rather just have a quiet day to myself. But, you know, hitting 50 has a really bad rap and it's like we're old or something, and I'm just not feeling that. And I thought when I say Mariah, who's on here, she was a big law attorney with me, and she had the office next door. And when I was there, I thought 50 might look very, very different to how it's actually looking. And the one thing I do know from my dear friends is I don't know how long this will last, and life can change in an absolute heartbeat. So I am making the most of it. I am looking at myself and realizing that there are times when I have been as I am now and thought that it wasn't good enough. And I've made a pact with myself that wherever I am, I'm going to accept that that is where I am. And it's peaceful. It's actually, you know, and I do feel that it's 17 years in the making. This hasn't been an overnight thing. It's just been these layers and these different steps, and just falling down, getting back up, stumbling back down, falling down more than getting back up, not knowing and not knowing. And this is where I'm at, that uncertainty is actually what I was wanting, right? It's what I wanted. And so what if I could sit in that, and what if I could create from that space? And already in the past week, I feel like something's opened up, and it's just a really beautiful thing. So this is what happens on the other side of breaking down. And we can think of it as breaking down to break through, and that the only way out is through, right? So we can't get out of whatever we're doing unless we move through. And just like grief, it has its stages. And so if we don't resist when we feel down, if we can not celebrate it, but just be in it, be mindful, right? So mindfulness is accepting what is rather than what is not, or what you would like to be. Right, so if we can be in that moment, knowing that on the other side of it, there's brighter vistas, knowing that we'll get through it, because empirical evidence will show that you are still standing, you are still here today. So whatever's gone on in your life and however hard it was, you are still here. Empirical evidence says that. So we look back on that and we say we're still here. And if we're doing our job to kind of to how to build a life that feels better, then we're collecting tools along the way, so that each time we come across one of these crises, we can have the tools to help us come out and to feel a little bit better along the way, because it's icky. You know, it's that cocoon to butterfly, it's icky mess to getting wings, to not knowing what they are. There's a lot involved, but it doesn't mean that we have to suffer all the way through. And it doesn't mean you've got to go for massages and pedicures, because that's just a whole load of bullshit. This is all in here, right? It's here and it's here. Here and here and here and here. That's where it's at. So the more we can connect to here and connect the two, and the more we can master our mind, the more we can love our body, master our mind, and befriend our soul. There, we start there. How do we love our body, master our mind, befriend our soul? And those two are all interconnected. So anyway, I think that's about my update. I'm so happy you all joined. Thank you so much for joining me. And as I say, I just wanted to, I think it's important to share. I know with my friends, I'm quite happy for them to share their storms. They've got to share their sunshine too. So I think the same here on the old fake book, that everything can look filtered and everyone can look great when they look great. And it's easy to be happy. And that's going back to what Get You Happy is about. It's easy to be happy when things are going well. I mean, who has a problem with that, right? We don't have a problem when things are going well, but how are we when things we perceive are not going well? Because who knows what going well actually is? You might think that if your house burned down, it would be the most terrible thing. And maybe it would. For me, my house burned down, it was the most amazing thing. I didn't know it at the time. It took me some time to see it. So we never actually know what looks good. Think about a pastry. Think about a chocolate. Think about candy. Think about a drink or a drug, you know. you have it and it's like, it's satisfying, but then it's not. And so it's the opposite of that. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm going to get out of the hot, steamy shower because I'm kind of hot. Yeah, I just think, anyway, as I say, I just think it's really important for us to be honest and share our journeys and share the sunshine with the rain and everything that's in between. And yeah, we don't know if something's good or bad, because, as I say, pastry is good when you have it, but then you sits on your hip for life. Is that good? And then you beat yourself up. Is that good? Not so much. Something you wait for might not feel so good, or something that happens may not feel so good, but coming out of that, you may have a strength and a power inside of you that awakens that you didn't even know was there, and it was right inside of you, because that's where it is. That's the beautiful thing. It's right inside of you and me and everybody. I love you. I'm Shiv-FKA.